You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Man, we are here once again, and today we have another awesome guest for the show. Today, we're going to talk to Kaci Myers. She's not just an amazing business owner. She is also an Army Operation Iraqi Freedom War veteran. She has been doing great things with her own community of helping other veterans who might have PTSD, but she also studied psychology to do that. And man, it's an honor, true honor to have you on the show today. I want to say, first of all, thank you for your service and how you doing.
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you on today. Today, we're just going to talk about just you being an entrepreneur, you being a business owner, but also you having platforms to help other veterans, and you're also a coach of many things. So before we dive into all that, man, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like you said, I am an Army veteran. I have been out the Army since 2004, so about 18 years. I did about 3.5 years. I originally signed up for a 6-year term, but was discharged on a medical discharge after I had problems with my knee, following me volunteering to go to Iraq. I have been a life coach probably really honestly all of my life. But I started pursuing speaking freedom as a business in 2010 after I had my daughter. So I've been doing this like full time. I wrote my first book in 2006, and I've just spent a lot of my time just trying to be an active voice in the community, not just for veterans, but making sure that I include veterans.
And your website, speakingfreedom.org, you can see everything that you do, and it looks like you're just busy. You don't just focus on one thing; you focus on many things, and you also I see you're just active, to say the least. When you are helping people, what's some of the common patterns of difficulty that they are facing when they're coming to you for searching for help and just for that coaching part to get them to the next level that they're trying to go to?
A lot of times, the deepest thing to try to help people get away from is living in a sense of denial that often comes with being deeply in religion and holding on to old behavior patterns. A lot of people don't realize sometimes that they can put themselves in a fog by not really saying, okay, this is who I am. This is where I am in my life. And these are the things that got me here. So a lot of people in general use religion as a means to act like everything is okay. So if you're acting like everything is okay, then you don't have the accountability needed to really address the things that you're facing. So a lot of times people come with, it's all type of dilemmas. A lot of people come with relationship problems. There are people that have just social anxieties, common with myself. And it is a lot of just trying to break down the barriers of what started their current state of being and how to help them identify with the core issues and gain the self-acceptance needed so that they can be at peace with themselves and then further their existence in the world.
Yeah, I like how you had in your bio this piece of it that I thought it stuck out. And it's basically your goal is to shift the world one person at a time, uniting in love, light, and wisdom. And is that like your core of just not just who you are, but also what you try to apply with your businesses and service?
Well, I built my business around who I am as a person. And I am generally a very loving individual. I see the best in everybody. Even when people do me wrong, I can still see the things that could have gone right. So I've built my business on me being a mom, because that is very time consuming, but also love. It started out as like the love movement. So I learned that the things that are wrong with me, quote unquote, aren't necessarily wrong with me. It's just things that people have told me that I should be different in areas, that this is just who I am. And then understanding myself, understanding why I became the person that you see. There was a time that I was a little bit more angry and mean a little bit, but a lot of that was just built up tension from trying to be accepted, feeling rejected. So once I began to really look at myself and examine myself and love myself more, I realized that self-love helps you love other people better, because now you're not looking at them like, oh, they did me wrong. Now you're looking at them like, oh, something is already going on with them, and they're just projecting whatever those feelings are. They are probably triggered by something that happened that made them respond in a certain type of way. So when you start looking at things like that, then you begin to move in a different type of love, because if you loving yourself, then it's easier to love others, because you become more understanding, you become more compassionate, you become more of, okay, if I was in their shoes, how would I respond? If I lived the life that they lived, how would I be? And then that makes you love yourself more, but love others from a place of understanding. And if every person begins to love themselves in such a way that they don't look for flaw in people, but they look at people with understanding, then eventually the goal is to be so loving with ourselves that we love each other. And then people won't be as judgmental as they are today, as condemning, as just, it's a lot of people that are stuck on pointing the finger and placing blame, and not a lot of accountability and understanding people for where they are and who they are based on their circumstances. A lot of us as individuals don't realize that we are all different. We all come from different environments. We are raised by our parents differently. Some people didn't have parents. Some people had overprotective parents. Some people had parents that, influenced them to do bad things. And when you realize that everybody is raised different, everybody's environments are different, everybody's beliefs are different, then that helps you kind of take a step back and not be so hard pressed about your views on life.
I like those points. And with that said, when people are learning, right? Because this is part of it too, right? It's not just I know it all, so therefore I'm right and wrong. It's also, hey, I'm learning to do this. Touch on that for audience, because it's also learning from others, learning from everybody versus what you think you know.
As a life coach and an avid reader, I've read about 150 or so books. In the last 4 years, I listen to audiobooks. I am not sitting down reading books because I don't have time for that. But as you begin to learn, you realize that there is a lot of things that you don't know. I've learned a whole lot, and it's still so much in the world that I can't even fathom what I haven't learned yet. When it comes to history, when it comes to possibilities, there is always the ability to learn from somebody else's experience, from what somebody else knows, what they've learned. There are a lot of things that we don't have to bump our heads learning or learn the hard way, because somebody else could talk to us about certain stuff. And it's kind of crazy because a lot of people think, well, if somebody is divorced and I'm married, I can't listen to that divorced person because what they're going to tell me, their marriage didn't work. But that's kind of not true. You can't listen to any bitter person. A person can be married and seemingly happy, but be bitter and tell you all the negative things about being married. While a person that got divorced because of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and needing to pursue purpose could give you all the wisdom in the world on how to approach marriage in a way that can make it work. It's just really about being open to something bigger than what your mind has been exposed to thus far.
And that's some good points. Once again, listen to Focus Radio, talking to Kaci Myers, and going back a little bit to your military background, with this emphasis on learning, what was some of the things that you took from that experience that you still use to today?
The biggest thing is being loyal, having honor, moving with integrity. I think integrity is probably the biggest thing, although you will encounter a lot of people in the military that might have questionable integrity. Some of the core values of being a military service member is those things that I listed. And the other thing is probably the discipline. When I came up, I didn't have a great parental guardianship over me. So I was kind of used to kind of moving at the beat of my own drum. Now, I still do that, but I learned how to structure my life in a more disciplined way. So now I have self-control. Now I have a little bit more temperance. And I just learned how to use my mind as they formed my mind into a machine. Now I have control over the machine that the military made so that I can function at high productivity levels when I am trying to work on things, whether it is in school, whether it's with my children, or just my day-to-day business. I am a lot more focused than a lot of people that I have come up around or been around because of my military experience. It really sets you apart in ways that only people that have really been in the military would understand.
That makes sense. And when you are helping your clients, I mean, like I said, you do a lot. I mean, people just go to speakingfreedom.org. They can see a list and more information on all the things that you dive into. You talk about discipline, and that is something that is very important. It's funny because it's obvious it's important, but it's like the very thing that we all, including myself, don't pay attention to. It's so easy to say, okay, I'm gonna work out, and then before you know it, a whole year goes by and you barely even did any exercise all year. So why do you think it's so hard, just on a general level, to be committed, to be disciplined and do what the things we desire to do in life?
Now, if you really want me to be honest, I am not disciplined in the areas that other people think that I should be disciplined in. I don't work out regularly. I try to put myself on a regimen and a schedule to go walking and do things that help my endurance stay and my stamina stay up. But it's about really gravitating to what you feel passionate about. When you're gravitating to the things that you're passionate about, it's easy to find discipline because these are things that you're drawn to anyways. It's just a matter of being able to lock in your focus on the things that really matter. So whether it's being disciplined about parenting, being disciplined about whatever you believe your purpose is, it's easy for me to talk to people and help people, even for free, because that is something that I am passionate about. I remember not being understood. So it's easy to be disciplined with understanding others because I know where I came from. So it's really about knowing yourself, setting goals. It takes discipline to set goals and follow through. That's probably the biggest thing that it takes discipline to do. And it's really like a lot of people talk about manifesting. and speaking things into existence. But you can't do that without follow through. You can talk and say you want to receive things and you want to do things and all of that. But a lot of people drop the ball when the opportunity presents itself, and then they don't do the thing that they said that they wanted to do. So the discipline is in really the follow through on what you said you wanted to accomplish. And that could be working out. That could be anything, but it's okay. I said I wanted this. Now it's almost like there is a saying, you could ask God for a cake and God will give you the ingredients for the cake, but will you have the discipline to actually put everything together, bake it at the right temperature, and do what needs to be done so that you actually get the cake? It's the same thing with manifesting. Manifesting is not just a voila, kind of like with religion, and you just say the name and it just happens. It actually takes, okay, I'm going to plan this out. I'm going to do the things that leads to what I am shooting for. And then when the ingredients are all present, I am going to follow through.
And also with that, someone might say, well, what if I don't get the results I was looking for? But what will your response be to that person? Would it be, well, hey, if you still stick with the process, you might find something that was meant to be?
Really, honestly, what I decided to do after I got divorced in 2012, I decided that I would never experience the same exact thing, especially an unwanted desire, more than once. So you might not have to change your whole plan. You might not have to do everything different. It might just be tweaking. Normally, we are able to recognize, oh, it was just this one thing that I might need to adjust a little bit or do just a little bit different so that it works better in my favor. But it's also about really learning to trust your intuition and then leaning into the way that your intuition leads you. Because a lot of times things will not work out perfect. But there's two things. I just was talking to somebody about this today. There's two things. You are either going to go in a way that you already know that something in the inside of you is telling you don't go that way and you're pushing your way through that way, or you're going to begin to go down a path, start a path, and it goes well, gets a little difficult, and then you are frustrated in the difficulty of you actually reaching your goals. Now, it takes a lot to say, you know what? I see that this is working. I see where provision is present. Now, how do I continue on and make minor adjustments so I actually reach this? Versus you going down something that you already feel shaky about. You kind of in your intuition, like, I shouldn't do this. And then it doesn't work. That's because you already had a feeling that you shouldn't do it in the first place. So it's also about learning to trust your own intuition, learning to trust the voice inside of you. That's the God in you, the part of you that is suggesting good things and not the things that you know aren't going to lead to where you desire to be. It's intuition, and it's knowing where you desire to go. So if you don't know where you want to go, then you'll end up anywhere. You'll just go down wherever things lead you. But if you already have goals in mind, then you're working towards something and you have a end goal so that you won't be distracted by everything. A lot of times we get off because we don't know what we want to do. We don't know where we want to go. We don't know who we want to be. And so anything can get us off of the path that we should be on because we don't have any idea. We haven't sat down, or we've thought about it, but we haven't written anything down. So a lot of times you have to buy you a notebook, write things down, write notes in your phone so that when the time comes and you're reminded of those, because a lot of times we might think about something, we don't realize it, but later on down the line, we be like, man, I was thinking about something like this. But because we didn't write it down, we have no point of reference to say, you know what? There it is. I need to do this or I need to do that. And you will find yourself guiding yourself from things that you've thought about previously.
I like that last part, guiding yourself that you thought previously, because, it's a metaphor. If I can do it real quick, it's like if someone takes a trip somewhere and they're flying out. Well, it's not like they get the ticket and boom, they just vanish into their destination. It's like all these little checkpoints throughout the journey. And if you will, that can be similar with someone who says, okay, I'm going to start a business. Well, if you start your brand, start your business, it's not boom. It just, you vanish into like this successful world of like easy street. Well, that's wishful thinking, because don't we all wish we were LeBron James or Steph Curry, just, being one of the elite
They worked
players.
hard to get there. It wasn't just a voila. They didn't just wake up one day and were those players. Curry did not just wake up and he was shooting threes as a baby. He had to work. He continues to work. People like that, people like how Kobe used to talk about, he worked when people weren't working. He was training when people were sleeping. So if it takes diligence to really pursue what you really want to do. Is even in the instances where people do, and it seems like voila, they just made it. It takes so much to stay there, because if you get there before you're ready to be there, then you won't know how to maintain that success.
And you said it perfectly, and that is exactly what I was going at with the metaphor with the plane and catching flight to wherever it is you try and catch your flight to, because we so easily can get caught up in, well, man, looking so man, they look like they just killing it. It must be nice. Like, well, you might think it must be nice, but to your point, can you really handle the weight of success? Because success, like people will say, rent is due every day, whether you like it or not. And you have to ask yourself, is this what I want to do? Is this my passion? Because if it's your passion, then that will help sustain some of the hardships that will come with success.
Yes, success is a burden in most cases, because I don't want to say more money, more problems, but the more success you accumulate, the more responsibility you have. And if you don't know how to handle that responsibility, and in today's society, most times success equals some type of fame, some type of attention, and that is a distraction in itself. And it can be very overwhelming. A lot of people that I coach are really people that are going into success, and they're so overwhelmed that they need the coaching to just keep doing what you feel that you should be doing, because that's what's going to get you to the other side. You're not going to get to the other side questioning yourself. You have to, once you know what you want to do, you really have to hold on tight to that. And then you have to learn along the way, because if not, you won't be able to repeat those things that created your success.
And kind of goes back to the earlier conversation when you touched on discipline, because without that being present in anything you decide to do, I mean, just the simple task of driving your vehicle, it takes discipline to follow the traffic laws. You can't run red lights. You got to slow down. You got to stop at stop signs. It's certain things you must do in order for you to even have an opportunity to even get to the level that you're hoping to get to.
That is so true. And it's a lot of defensive driving, but you got to use your defense mechanisms when you are pursuing business, because there are going to be so many things that come to throw you off. Even when I think about veterans and filing claims for disability, there are so many times that they'll deny you, they'll tell you no, they'll give you a hard time. And I don't really understand why they give you a hard time, but if you're not strong enough in yourself, then you will be thrown off. You will quit the pursuit of reaching 100% or just getting rated a service connection for your disability. And you'll give up before you get to the goal. And they're hoping, a lot of people are hoping that you give up before you reach what it is that you're trying to get. Because if you give up, you'll never obtain it. They'll never have to give you what you're worth.
Man, once again, true honor talking to Kaci Myers. Man, go to her website, speakingfreedom.org. I can't stand when time goes too fast, man, because I got another show to do. But first and foremost, I'll let you have the floor real quick. What's your call to action for people who listen to this right now? How can they best get in touch with you and find out more about your services?
You could go to my website, but there's also Speaking Freedom TV, which you can view on all streaming websites. I have books out on Amazon and on other audio book websites. So just tap in. Speaking Freedom is my Instagram handle also. And I look forward to hearing from you all.
Awesome. I want to say thank you once again, Kaci Myers, for taking time in your schedule for talking to I Am Refocused Radio today.
Thank you.